For the next few moments, we're going to look at some of the commands covered in Chapter 5 of your textbook, Manipulating Files and Directories. Primarily, we'll look at the copy, the move, the make directory, the remove, and then the link command, which allows you to create symbolic links, which are somewhat like shortcuts in Microsoft. The copy command allows you to make a copy of a file and move it to another location. The move is like a cut and paste maneuver that you may be accustomed to. It actually picks up the file and puts it in a different place. It does not make a copy of it. It takes the original and moves it to another location. The make directory command allows you to create directories or what you may call folders. They're both the same thing. The remove command is like a delete function that allows you to delete files and directories. And then again, finally, the link or ln command allows you to create symbolic links or hard links. Links or symbolic links are like shortcuts in a Microsoft environment. They're very, very similar and perform basically the same function. Now, I'm going to slide down through the document here just to show you a few examples. The copy command, and we'll come back to wildcards in another video, but the copy command, as well as the make directory command, let's look primarily at the copy command first. The copy command deals with a source and destination, or what is labeled as item 1 and item 2 here in this particular description. The copy command then says copy the first item, which it assumes is the document that you want to copy, and it assumes the second item is the destination. More specifically, however, it would be we should say that the copy command assumes that the first item is what you're going to copy, and the very last item is where you are copying it to. It is, however, possible to copy more than one item at a time. So let's look at some examples here by bringing up a terminal window. And I'm going to run the ls command here so you can see a variety of files that I've got created in this particular location. Now let's say, for example, I want to copy that onefile.txt file. So I'll do copy onefile.txt, and let's say I want to copy it to the /tmp or the temp directory. So copy or cp is my command, onefile.txt is the source or the name of the file that I'm going to copy, and /tmp is the destination. I hit my enter key. I do not get any information back from that, but in this case typically no news is good news, so we can assume that that was successful. We can verify that, however, with our ls command. I could do an ls of the entire temp directory, or if I want to look specifically for that particular file, I can do ls/tmp/onefile.txt, and it verifies that the file is in that location. The copy file is also unique in that, or copy command is unique in that it allows us to copy multiple files to the same location with one line of command. So, for example, let's say I want to copy both of these files to the TMP directory. I see that I've got the copy command here, cp. I've got 2file.txt listed, 3file.txt listed, and then finally the last item in the list is assumed to be the destination. So I hit the enter key, and again I get no response, and in this case again no news is good news. If I ls or do a listing of my temp directory, I see the onefile.txt, the 2file.txt, and the 3file.txt, which I've copied. Now looking at the rm command. The rm command is like a delete option. The syntax is very, very similar. I simply do the command, and let's say I want to remove onefile.txt from the /temp directory. I tell it exactly what file I want to remove. Notice here I've used the absolute path that we learned about in previous activities. I said /tmp/onefile.txt. I hit the enter key, and again no news is good news. If I ls the /tmp directory, I see that the onefile.txt is gone. Similarly, if I go rm /tmp slash 2file.txt slash tmp slash 3file.txt and hit the enter key. And then once again do a listing of my temp directory. I see that I've removed 2 files at the same time. So in this case, both the cp command and the rm or remove command will allow me to input multiple arguments. It assumes in the cp command that the last thing that you type in the line is the destination. So we've seen the copy command, we've seen the remove command, which allows me to delete things. There's also the mv or move command, which again we mentioned is like a cut and paste operation. mv, one file.txt, and again we'll move it to the slash tmp directory. I'll do a listing of my tmp directory again, and I see that one file.txt has been moved to slash tmp. Now let's do a listing of my home directory, and if you'll notice, the one file.txt is missing now. So we moved it from the home directory to the slash tmp directory. I can also again use multiple arguments. So the mv command with 2 sources, 2file.txt and 3file.txt, and we should be able to see that they have been moved to the slash tmp directory as well. So again, I've used the cp command to copy and paste, I've used the rm command to remove, and I have used the mv command to move, or what you might think of as a cut and paste operation with those files. Let's go back to our document just for a moment. We've used our cp command, we've used our mv command, and we've used our rm command. Now notice for a moment that each command has a variety of switches or options that can help enhance the functionality of the command. The 2 most common things that are used with most of these commands are the interactive or -i and the recursive or -r. The -i prompts me before I overwrite a particular file. So let's go back and create a new situation for ourselves. I'm going to use the touch command to recreate the file onefile.txt inside of my home directory. Again, the touch command simply creates empty text files. So if I do an ls, I see a file called onefile.txt here in my home directory. And if I do a listing of my temp directory, I also see a file called onefile.txt there as well. If I copy onefile.txt to the slash temp directory, but add a -i option, hit the enter key. It asks me if I want to overwrite the existing file. In this case, I'm going to say that no, I do not want to do that. So I'll hit the end key, and it does not overwrite the document. Same thing with the rm command. If I do rm -i slash, well, let's take out the slash. Let's do that same file we're working with here. If I do rm-i onefile.txt, it asks me if I want to remove the file. Again, I'm going to say no in this case with an N. And since I've used the N key or said no, it does not delete this particular file. So the -i makes it interactive. Now, the -r or recursive option is slightly more complicated. I'm going to create, to help demonstrate this, I'm going to use another command in this chapter called the make directory command, or mkdir. I'm going to make a folder inside of the temp directory called, let's call it test. Okay. Now, I'm going to copy from the temp directory one file.txt, two file.txt, and three file.txt to the /temp/test directory. Now, if you're following along with me here, notice that I have used the absolute path in each one of these instances, and I have not changed to the /tmp directory. Changing to the /tmp directory would have been fine, but in this case I just chose to use the absolute path instead of moving or changing directories to /tmp. At this point I'll hit my enter key, and I should be able to do a listing of /tmp/test and see that I have 3 files in this particular folder. Now, let's use that recursive option. In this case, I'm going to use the recursive option with the rm command. So I'll do /tmp/test and hit enter. Now, let's go back and do a listing of the test directory. And notice what it says, cannot access /tmp/test. Let's do a listing of our temp directory. Notice that the test directory is missing. So let's look at fundamentally what has happened with that -r or recursive option. In this case, recursive means that it will go into the test directory, delete all of its contents, as well as deleting the test directory in and of itself. This -r option is a commonly used option to delete directories and their entire contents. You have to be very careful with it, however. Notice that you did not get prompted. If we would have wanted to have been prompted before deleting files, what option would we have needed? It would have been that I option or interactive that we demonstrated earlier. But in this case, we didn't use it. So the -r option descends or goes into a directory, and in this case deletes or copies or moves, depending upon the command you're using, all of the contents inside of that directory to another location. Let's recreate that folder one more time. Using my make directory command, I'm going to recreate the folder. Using my command history, I'm going to bring up that previous file that I typed. I'm going to copy those files back in there. Now, I'm going to use the mv command, -r/temp/test, and then I'm going to use the tilde symbol, which is the shortcut for my home directory, and hit enter. Notice that for the mv command, the R option does not work. Let's go back and refer to our text then. Finding the mv command, what do we see? There is no R option for the mv command. We do, however, find that the copy command does have a recursive option. So let's go back and revisit this command with our CP and determine if we get any type of result or what type of result we get. So we get no response and no error messages. So let's see what's happened here. If I check /tmp, the test directory is still here. Let's see if anything is in the /tmp directory. Notice our files are still there, but we did use a copy command, so let's check our home directory. Notice that we have a test directory here now in our home folder, and if we do a listing of the test directory that's in our home folder, notice we have 1 file, 2 file, and 3 file.txt located there. So with the recursive option, if we use it with the rm command, it will delete the folder and all of its contents. If we use it with the copy command, it will copy the folder and all of its contents. And if we try to use it with the move command, we get no response because there is not a cut and paste option recursively to be used with that mv command.